Well, I went down to find out what they're up to. They're such an effective group in getting conservative policy, really corporate policy, passed in state legislatures that I wanted to make sure that someone was there to find out what they're up to next. And sure enough, from going down there and seeing what their agenda is, I've already found out that the Republicans are going to introduce a lot of those bills this fall. So it's really keeping on top of where they're going on education reform or health care or environmental issues. And by being there, now I have a much better idea and a kind of way to keep them honest for what they're working on. Yeah, they already said this fall. In fact, I was doing a program with Robin Voss on Wisconsin Eye, and he already talked about they're going to do the healthcare exchange stuff from the federal law. They're going to do the bare minimum. That's a class they had just on how to do the bare minimum. He talked about education reform, and we know they're going to have a bunch of bills they did in Florida and Indiana that are really bad for public education, but they call them education reform. So we know all that's coming, and I think you may even see some efforts to try to change the standards for renewables by 2020, trying to delay the implementation because that was a class they had. So really by being there, you learn a lot of the things they're up to and exactly the advice they're giving to legislators on how to pass them. Yeah, well, the way they usually give the invitations out is they do it through the state delegation chair, and since they knew who I was, I didn't really get any, but I did have one to a cigar party. So I went to that, and when I got there, they were going around with silver trays of cigars, and I got a cigar, and I was heading out to go smoke it, and I talked to a Republican legislator, and all of a sudden, ALEC staff came up and said, do you have an invite to be here? And I said I did, and he said, did you show it at the door? And I'm like, well, look, I got in here, the lobbyist from Wisconsin I just saw, he's here, and he goes, well, go get him. And it was very clear they didn't want me there. I couldn't find him. I finally said, look, I know you don't want me, I'll leave. But that's where they do a lot of the work, is they wine and dine people at night, and that's where, even though by being at the workshops I can find out the model legislation and what they're up to, that's where they actually do the convincing of legislators on what to pass. Yeah, usually just for membership in the Senate, I think they've done that. But the way actually ALEC does it, again, it's pretty smart, is they have the corporations pay them a whole bunch to be members. A legislator joins for $100, a corporation can pay $25, $50, or $100,000, and then they provide scholarships to legislators to attend. So really, they're paying for the legislator's trip, which is really the corporation's paying for it, but because they've gone through ALEC, it's a scholarship, and it's a way to kind of make the trip free so that they get a free junket, and that's how they get all the information about model legislation at those events. Well, the Wisconsin State Chair right now wasn't there, but it was, I think it was another legislator who was handing stuff out from there, but they had about 20 people that were at the delegation from Wisconsin down there, and I've heard they've had as many as 50 people from Wisconsin attend one of these things. So I think because it was so hot in New Orleans, some people didn't go, but when they had it in New York City, I heard 50 people attended. So it's definitely well attended by the Republicans in Wisconsin. It's something we're looking at, seriously. I think a lot of people are trying to find out what's happening ever since Russ made his decision. So we're kind of waiting for to see what happens with that, and hopefully we'll know a little more in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Sure, no problem.